Hello and welcome back. I'm Nix, your local cheetah, and this is year 3 of the Great Clans. If this is your first video of mine, I'd advise you to watch the other two first for context and more story, and have fun. Let's start straight up with Savannah clan, who luckily hasn't had any deaths this year. So we start with Windstar. Windstar had a little of a bad year despite 0 deaths. He had another litter of 2 with Fleet Swoop, but they broke up due to a bad fight shortly after. I think I know the reason for their fight, but we'll get to it when we get to Fleet Swoop. So anyway, after the breakup, Windstar actually got together with Whirlbush instead, and they've been pretty good so far. His first 2 kids are warriors now, and he's very proud, if not a little scared for them. Also, I don't remember very well, but he has Omen Sight now, and I don't think he had that before, so there you go. To our deputy, Crooked Flare, he also hasn't been having a good year, honestly. First he fought a dog and got injured, though it didn't scar, and then he got lost near a 2-leg place, picked up by one, and collared in a moon event before escaping again. So he's got a collar now, and no idea how to take it off. Aside from that, not much for him this year. Next is Kestrel Freckle, who surprisingly has become mates with Conkertuft, who is currently in the nursery with their single kid. They had some insomnia for a while due to the stress of being the only medicine cat of the ever-growing clan, but has gotten better now thanks to our new second medicine cat. Webb is a very young but experienced former loner at only 17 moons old. He's grumpy and an eloquent speaker, and I made him look a little like a hyena. I thought it fit him, and it does. His design is also definitely on the more unrealistic side of my designs, but I really like his name and I just wanted to incorporate it into a design a bit. So yeah, he's the new medicine cat, and he helps out Kestrel Freckle so far. He's been good. Anyway, on to our warriors. First is another new face, the 81 moon old Patches Splash. There are a lot of S's. He uses he-astral pronouns and was formerly a kitty pet. Astral is vengeful and a good hunter. He was found abandoned by his 2 legs near a thunderpath and just recently was seen sharing prey with another cat. I don't remember if they were a loner or a kitty pet, but they were named Flower, who was quickly chased away after being found. That's it for Astral, so on to Petal Dusk, who is doing a lot better this year. A was given herbs to cover M's pelt with by Kestrel Freckle and has been having a pretty calm year actually. It turns out Vi and Navia do not like each other at all and have been a little aggressive with each other, but that's what all of them has done this year, so anyway. On to Silverbat, another new warrior. Silverbat also used to be a kitty pet and joined the clan after Conifer Paw snuck out to the 2-leg place, and they started talking. He's vaccinated, which is great, but that doesn't help this idiot with injuries as he tried to fight a literal hawk only a few moons after joining and was scarred. I don't know why he decided to attempt that, especially as he is a responsible Tom, but I guess you do you, Silverbat. Also, his name isn't Silver as in the color, but Silver with an A, and I just love the idea that he saw how clan cats do names and just added Bat to his kitty pet name. He's also an incredible runner, varying character for Savannah clan, and has a dark forest affinity. Also, Kestrel Freckle does not like him, and I think it's pretty obvious why. Why? You don't just fight a hawk because you can, Silverbat. Anyway, the next warrior is Lemonback. He's still alive, yay! He trained Clover well and almost immediately got another one of Windstar's children as an apprentice, who we'll get to later. He did not do anything noteworthy this year, however he does have a crush on Twilight, who's now a warrior too, and it's reciprocated. Next is Curlflood, another new face, and another former kitty pet. Curlflood is a purebred Burman and ran away from her 2 legs for literally no reason. The idea of this purebred cat that probably won some show awards just by trotting off to live in the wild with a bunch of wild cats cracks me up. Sadly, she's neutered, so no pretty Burman kitties, but hey, she's 24 moons old, nervous, with helpful insight and a good speaker. In game she had rainbow boots, but I feel like she would absolutely trot into camp with them and make a show of kicking them off. Also, I don't want to draw them. The literal moon after coming into the clan, she was buried under a landslide. Luckily she was unharmed when the other cats got her out, but that definitely wasn't a nice welcome. Next is Birchpaw, who was named Birchswipe and honored for her stealth. She got a little banged up while still an apprentice for no mentioned reason, so I think she might have just ran so fast she stumbled and took a tumble down a slope or something. She's now 21 moons old, insecure, a great storyteller, and a good speaker. She has an apprentice, Mothpaw, and is generally doing good. Her brother is now Twilight Tail, which is funny to me. It just sounds funky. And he is a nervous and a masterful storyteller. He's of course also 21 moons old and still suffers from chronic light sensitivity, giving him quite a few headaches. As said, he has a small crush on Lemonback as well, was named for his attention to detail, and for some reason gave advice to Windstar this year. That was before Windstar and Fleet Swoop broke up though, so... Additionally, he was seen talking to a loner, the young Barley Speckle, who he befriended at some point. I'd really like for Barley to join, but you tell me what you think, and we'll see. Next on the list is Coniferpaw, now Conifer Bright. She was named for her boldness only a moon after bringing Silverbat in, which was also earlier than usual. She was made a warrior at 11 moons old, which is honestly impressive, and has grown to be adventurous, who would have thought, and a great climber. She also developed flecked ends of her black back, cause I didn't see them on her sprite last year. Oh, and she and her brother are 19 moons old right now. Her brother Cloverpaw was named far later than Conifer Bright, at I think 14 moons. However, because of this, he apparently acquired so much knowledge, even Windstar felt intimidated when he named him Clovernip. That was actually what the moon event of him getting his name said, and I did not know that could happen. Though I'm honestly questioning his knowledge, because at the exact same moon Clovernip tried to fight a rogue named Flower and got his ass kicked. He is thoughtful and a great speaker, and again, I'm seriously questioning this due to mentioned actions. Up next are the new apprentices, which are Fleet Swoop and Windstar's second litter. First is Volepaw, who is a childish Tom and an avid playfighter. His mentor is Lemonback, and he's basically Fleet Swoop in brown tones, which is kind of adorable. His brother Mothpaw is playful and never sits still, and true to his name, I gave him a moth-like pattern for his 2 back markings. Mothpaw is mentored by Birchswipe, but surprisingly the 2 of them haven't done much yet. They are 9 moons old now, and I love them. To the elders, we of course have Fleet Swoop, who is now 180 moons old, and girl, you need to stop having children at your age. Like seriously, she had a second litter at 171? 71. She's pretty angry at Windstar for breaking up with her, and is currently dealing with a twisted ankle, which is not helping her mood at all. And now the possible reason for their fight. I checked the history because I had some suspicions, and well, Fleet Swoop was the one who killed Chestnut. Tornstar now knows this, and most likely we'll see next year what he does against it, if he does anything. Anyway, next is our beloved Woolbush with a new mate. A cute thing I saw while looking through the relationship tabs was that despite loving Windstar a lot, her love for Stag Eye has only gone up since he died, and that is so sweet and also so sad. He will not be forgotten with her around, and I can't wait to see them reunite again, though I do hope Woolbush stays around a bit longer. In all honesty, Woolbush has done nothing but get well-deserved relaxation for this year. She's living in as much luxury as possible in clan life, and I love that for her. The last elder is Navia, who retired not too long ago. She is 123 moons old now, and honestly, she's not doing so great. Earlier in the year, she wondered if clan life was really for her, and she's been thinking a lot about her past, including that she doesn't like how times have changed since she was young. I think at this point she's only staying in the clan for safety at her old age and nothing more. She, for some reason, straight up hates pale dusk specifically, though I don't know why. But aside from that, nothing happened with her. There's still two more cats this year in the nursery, and there's Concord Tuft with her and Kestrel Freckles' single kid Whimsy Kid. Whimsy Kid is still a newborn, so there's nothing to say about her yet, but I did give her a pattern that sort of reminded me of a ladybug, so that's fun. Concord Tuft herself is now 103 moons old and thankfully managed to calm down a lot since the happenings of last year. She loves her mate and their one kid very much, and I really hope this isn't going to be ruined for her anytime soon. That's all for Savannah Clan, so on to Jungle Clan, where we have one death to get through before getting into the clan properly. You don't know this cat sadly, as he died only a moon after joining due to carrion place disease. His name was Crumpet Pelt, and he was a former kitty pet found wheezing in clan territory and brought in to give him some safety in his last days. This old man was literally 226 moons old. Like, everyone knew he wouldn't survive that disease, so protecting him until then was the least Jungle Clan could do. He was childish and a good swimmer, so I drew him swimming happily in Star Clan, and then I played myself by accidentally giving him a really cool design, and then getting sad he's not alive anymore. Ignoring my ability to fuck myself up, let's start with Rainstar and Sapspot. I'm drawing them together simply because they're like besties now. Rainstar, our frazzled old man, is still on all 9 lives, though he's been hearing the voices of Star Clan cats lately. He experienced some frequent nightmares around the time a lot of cats seem to be nervous around Mulberry Dapple, so yeah. I also checked the relationship tab this year, and Rainstar gets along surprisingly well with everyone, but has some unexplained beef with Lichen Bloom and one of the new cats. Sapspot is now 127 moons old, and he's really getting up there. He's been oversleeping a lot lately and just generally being confused. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna get a Sapstar, and he's probably going to retire next year. He was swarmed by bees once, and then a few months later sprained his paw trying to walk across the muddy camp. He was also scared by Silver Leopard accidentally, I might add, due to leading a hunting patrol in the fog and losing sight of the younger, who then seemingly rematerialized right next to him. So yeah, his decisions are starting to get a little questionable. The next cat is Ulite, who is still the only medicine cat in Jungle Clan, and is now 59 moons old. He didn't do anything this year but pine apparently, because he has a crush on 4 separate cats. My man, please, what are you doing? Anyway, next is Mulberry Dapple, who has apparently been giving other cats nightmares and making them nervous around him. It seems I wasn't so wrong with my statement about him giving mad scientist vibes, because genuinely so many cats have been nervous around him or straight up scared of him, and I think that's hilarious. Mulberry also seems to just have unofficially adopted both Silver Leopard and Valley Throat, as it turns out they have a really good platonic relationship with each other, and it's really cute. Another thing is that he keeps getting fed by Two Legs, and the clan knows this, but I think they're too scared to talk to him about it. Next up is a new face, one that Mulberry Dapple actually brought in, and that is the former loner Callisto, who is an insecure Molly who is incredibly clever and has omen sight. She's 104 moons old, and I think the two of them knew each other from when Mulberry was still a kitty pet. Also, I think with Callisto being so clever, she and Mulberry became friends over her enabling Mulberry's crazy ideas. She rolled to be a polydactyl cat, aka she has 5 toes instead of the normal 4, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the curls or the patterns or maybe the flowers, but she reminds me of a folklorico dancer. Am I the only one? Next is another new face named Sweet Marmalade, and I can't even. I love her name so much. She used to be a loner, but I think she started off as a kitty pet that ran away, for obvious reasons, aka the name. She joined together with her 3 kids, Nimble, Flash, and Fog Kid, who are now apprentices, and she's nervous, but a good mediator. There are a lot of new cats in the clan this year, so there goes more, including this sweet fella named Fable Echo. I love that name. Fable Echo is compassionate and a good kid sitter, and they are gender non-conforming and use they/them pronouns. They are 70 moons old and used to be a kitty pet who waited for a patrol to cross paths with them and asked to join on the last moon of the year. In game, their gender is just question marks, but I like to roll for that specific one and say it's either gender non-conforming or questioning. And they roll gender non-conforming, so there goes that. The next cats are new again. Those are Fidget and Gentle. They both joined a moon apart, injured, and were relatively matching names, so I decided they were friends before and were both driven here after something attacked them. Fidget is a confident, renowned hunter and a good teacher who used to be a loner. His injury was a mangled leg that scarred but didn't have any other repercussions. However, he did briefly experience seasonal depression too. Gentle is strict, has unnatural senses, and is a learner of lore. She is 50 moons old, currently has a sprain, and joined with a claw wound on her stomach. She also has a poppy as an accessory, and I thought it cute if Fidget was the one to give it to her, and Gentle in return gave Fidget the jay feathers he wears before they got here. Also, Gentle literally sprained her paw by tripping over a rabbit burrow. I just wanted to add that. They were both very relieved when they saw the other had found the clan as they were separated after the attack, and they are adorable. I'm kinda rooting for them to get together. Now back to a few cats we know. We have Shade Beetle, who is now 60 moons old and still mates with Valleythroat. Shade Beetle did not do anything this year, so moving on to Lichen Bloom. And his bone at 58 moons. He's been fishing for Rainstar's approval this year, which makes the fact that Rainstar, for no reason at all, seems to hate Lichen kind of sad. In his mission to gain approval, he fought a loner named Cole, but lost and was injured. But luckily not enough to score. And that's about it. Up next we have Valleythroat, who is now 45 moons old. This year he for some reason hunted on mountain clan territory without getting caught, which, my boy, please stop breaking the law. Aside from that, he played with Sweet Marmalade's kids, so I'm guessing the two get along, and that's cute. That's all for him, so on to the now 44 moon old Rushreek. He did nothing this year actually, he's just chillin', swimming, learning, whatever he does with his time. He still regularly visits Blue Freckle's grave, but I think he's gained some sort of closure living his life fully because of her sacrifice. So moving on to Silver Leopard. Silver Leopard, who, surprise surprise, has yet another scar. His tail was mangled by a big dog and the injury took like 4 moons to heal. Also turns out Silver Leopard is still not over his sister's death, because he has started a straight up hate bar towards Rushreek, blaming him for Blue Freckle's death even after nearly 2 years since she died. This worries me a bit. I feel like he might try to murder Rushreek, and I don't know what to do if he does. Please don't commit homicide, Silver Leopard. Moving on to Capella Burn. Capella Burn is now 40 moons old and generally doing pretty good. Capella Burn insulted some mountain clan cats and has been chilling ever since, with Capella Burn's funky boots. And I'm starting to think Jungle Clan and Mountain Clan have some beef. Pansyback is the next and last warrior at 34 moons. His natural intuition turned into having a keen eye, and I have no idea if that's better or worse, but it's a thing. He broke a bone when slipping on some ice at the beginning of Leaf Bear, and that's all he was up to this year. Moving on to the apprentice then, where we have the 3 Marmalade kids, beginning with Nimblepaw, who is currently not so nimble as she's suffering from insomnia. She and her siblings are 6 moons old, having just been made apprentices, and Nimblepaw is lonesome, quick to make peace, and apprentice under Fable Echo. Her sister Flashpaw, who is quite literally Nimblepaw in dark mode, is childish, also quick to make peace, confident with words, and apprenticed under Lichen Bloom. She's a little void with practically glowing amber eyes, and I imagine she often scares the hell out of her clanmates. when laying in her nest or some dark corner to escape the heat. She also tried to call a clan meeting when she was a kid, and I assure you the void climbed onto the leader's stand and called out with all her might. The two of them often play pranks on other cats by acting as if Flashpaw was actually just Nimble's shadow, and it works surprisingly well. It also got them to be scarily in sync to the point where they do things at the same time out of instinct and not to prank someone. They have basically become one and do everything acting like it, from eating to fighting, and it terrifies some of the more frightful clanmates, aka their mom and the very confused Rainstar. Lastly is Fogpaw, who is a raccoon. I'm joking, of course, though he does have the markings of one. Kind of. He's a very bold cat and also quick to make peace. He's a trans Tom and currently apprenticed under Callisto. Fogpaw had the very unspecified moon event of breaking the warrior code right by the end of the year. What he did, I have no idea. Maybe we'll see next year, cause I genuinely don't know what it could have been. That's all for Jungle Clan. So last but not least is Mountain Clan once more, which are now the biggest clan despite living on the cliffs. Starting in Star Clan with sadly Pink Sky, who did not survive his broken bone after it got an infection and he died before Shard Pond could get a medicine cat from one of the other clans to help him with it. I would have loved to see more of this guy, but as painful as his death is, it is not as heartbreaking to me as the next one. Because Fringebee died too this year. He was found dead near the Savannah clan border, but I don't think a Savannah cat killed him. The border between those two clans is mostly a lake and then a small stretch of grassland, and on the other side of Savannah clan there's a farm. My theory is that one of the farm dogs who was chilling at the lake saw a Fringebee who wasn't used to the lack of additional safety from the mountains and got caught. It's especially sad because it was just a moon or two after his first litter had become warriors and the second one apprentices. Aside from that, he also just decided to become a mediator, which might have been the reason he was at the border in the first place. Let's move on to the living ones now. We've got, of course, still Tornstar and Flystream in the position of leader and deputy, but things happened. Like Fringebee dying and Flystream falling off a fucking cliff and severely breaking his bone. By the way, if injuries on, the lake scar on different places from where I drew the healing things, it's because I have no way of knowing which leg is injured until it's healed and scarred. If it scars, so please ignore it. Aside from the bad things, their kids are alive and, well, into warriorhood. And the two are in love as usual, being adorable. So moving on to the medicine cats. We still have Shard Pond at 48 moons old. Shard Pond has helped out pretty much everywhere this year. He gave advice to Rabbit Paw, helped Bristlefrost, part Mumble narrative, with an anxiety attack, absolutely destroyed Snipbeak's hopes and dreams by continuously rejecting him, and even helped out in the nursery by snatching 2 children. And with that I mean 2 kids were found outside camp and Shard Pond just said mine now and snatched them. So yeah, he's a dad now. And not doing so great all things considered, as he too misses Fringebee like most of the clan and feels a little guilty about Pink Sky's death as he died of his infection just as Shard Pond was on his way to Jungle Clan for help. So he feels like if he had been faster or decided to get help earlier he wouldn't have died. But enough of that, because as you might have noticed, there is a child. One of the 2 kids Shard Pond adopted actually ended up being his apprentice. This is Treepaw. He's an adventurous mossball hunter and a careful listener. And for those who are wondering, yes, he is a bunch of snakes pretending to be a cat. Treepaw rolled the cobra neck and then I went a little overboard with the theme and suddenly he's a cobra Furian. It's canon now and you can't stop me. Treepaw is a cobra, end of story. Actually, not an end of story because Treepaw actually got an omen on the last moon that fits perfectly. He saw a 3-eyed fish and a cat-shaped cloud. Now you might think, why is that perfect? Well, that is because Mountain Clan is around my max of cats, so there will be a mass extinction next year. And now that I've dropped that bomb on you, we're moving on because those 2 are not the only med cats right now. Fringe Bee's kid Merkit, now Merkdrop, also decided to be a medicine cat. If you remember, they are intersex and use they them. They are also infertile, which was found out only a little after they got their full medicine cat name, and they also decided to wear dried herbs during their apprenticeship. Merkdrop currently has silver cough, while also just processing that they'll never have kids, though apparently they're not so sure they'd ever want any anyway, so they're generally not doing so great. They are now 17 months old, loyal, and an excellent teacher, and I do hope we get to see them teach at some point. Those are all the Met Cats for now, so on to the Warriors. First off being Mumblestone & Co., who I've decided to unofficially call the Mumble Narrative. Unofficially because they were found out as a system before the update that let them choose names and all that, and Mumblestone himself isn't listed as an author because of that, so I can't actually rename them. They have gotten quite the addition and went from like 5 to 15 in a year. For convenience and time, I'm also gonna draw authors in a lineup separately from videos and post them on the community thingies, a little after every video, otherwise I would not be able to finish on time. Aside from that, they haven't really done much this year. They were helped by Sharpon during an anxiety attack, because Bristlefrost couldn't check the whole camp before sundown, and are currently experiencing nightmares, so yeah, they are very close to dropping unconscious at every moment. Not having a good time. Moving on again to Spatula. By the way, I still love that name. Who is a prophecy interpreter? I don't know if she already was one last year or if that's new, but she is, so yeah. She was caught in a rogue attack, but only got her ear a little torn, and it didn't scar, so she's been rather relaxed this year. Her kids are currently still apprentices, but they're going to be warriors soon, and her apprentice is already graduated, so she can just relax for now. Also, last year I forgot her spot around the eye, so that's why it's different. Next up is Boneflight at 57 moons old. Boneflight just recovered from silver cough and has done nothing else this year. She's just chillin'. She did get an apprentice who is already a warrior now, but yeah, that's it. So on to Leopard2, who's done an oopsie. He was caught in a rock slide and got hit on the head, getting head damage in the process. This was only a little after Fringebee died, so tensions were high and Leopard blamed one of Fringebee's kids, Scorch, for everything. But that's not the end of it, as in the middle of recovering he left and came back with 3 kids. Now, he basically had a concussion at the time, so honestly, no one knows if the kids are actually his, or where he got them from. He just stumbled back into camp with them, and the clan just kinda didn't know what to do, so they took the kids in, and the little ones still have no idea that Leopard2 might not be their actual dad. Everyone's tiptoeing around the subject, so yeah, Leopard2 is a dad now, and he might have kidnapped a bunch of babies. He also has a crush on Pawn Spots. Yeah, he's been having a wild year. So moving on to Pawn Spots and the new face, Sunhorn. Pawn Spots hasn't really done anything, he's just been playing around, making friends and making Leopard2 fall in love with him. Sunhorn also hasn't done anything simply because he joined on the last moon, but the two seem to have hit it off and play fight together occasionally. Sunhorn used to be a kitty pet, is 37 moons old, and is a vengeful Tom, who is also a great mediator, and a formidable fighter. He also rolled to have asthma, so that's that. Next up is Snipbeak, and honestly, I've been getting a real bad vibe from him. He's 37 moons old now, and remember when he got rejected by Shard Pond? Yeah, he tried that again, like 4 times. And every time he gets rejected, he acts really pitiful for a while, and I'm just getting a real bad vibe from that, because by now he should know Shard Pond is not interested, and I'm very much not comfortable with the fact that he keeps on pushing it anyway. He hasn't done anything else either, just tried to push himself onto Shard Pond, and acted all heartbroken after every try. Luckily, Shard Pond is very headstrong, and not afraid to stand up for herself. Up next are Fringebee's first litter, who are now warriors. The first 2 are now named Rabbit Feather and Scorch Willow and are 22 moons old. The both of them aren't doing well given their father died, and Scorch Willow was straight up blamed for everything that happened since then by a concussed Leopard2, So I'm not surprised how the two turned out. How all four of them turned out actually, but we'll get into the other two later. Rabbit Feather ended up lonesome and a good teacher, and was honored for his cunning. And when he graduated while Scorchwillow ended up cold, but a great storyteller. And I'm really sad Scorch lost his shameless trait, but I imagine as he grew older he started getting embarrassed about the things he did as an apprentice, and now tries to hide that he can still do things like walk on two legs or bark. Scorchwillow was also one of the cats that buried Fringeby, and to add more heartbreak, after Fringe's death Rabbit Feather wondered why he's always alone. They're really not doing good, and I hope they can find some closure soon. The second half of the litter are of course the equally as old Sparrowstripe and Scale-Ear. They're also not doing well. Sparrowstripe stood all night at vigil with Tornstar, not moving a muscle on only 2 moons after being honored for his energy during his warrior ceremony, and Scale-Ear, while still mourning, was hit by a few rocks that were falling off a cliff and got a serious head injury that he still hasn't recovered from 5 moons later. Scale-Ear ended up as a charismatic, good climber, and Sparrowstripe as a daring cat with valuable insight. Sparrow also took 2 apprentices this year, one already a warrior and one who had just recently become an apprentice. He may or may not be drowning himself in work as a way to cope, very badly I might add. On to Tornstar's kids, Snapdragon Silk and Sunspot, who are now 17 moons old. Snapdragon Silk is an insecure she-cat, but a fast runner, and Sunspot is a nervous demi-NB learner of lore. I found the pose, I drew them in on Pinterest, and I just had to, because as an apprentice Snapdragon was very rude, so I imagine she's generally blunt, and her nervous sibling always shows up to do damage control before she says anything too bad. On one patrol while they were apprentices, Snapdragon Silk snipped at another apprentice who got buried under a small rock slide, that they don't have time for this, and Nash should just dig themselves out. They're a funny little duo. Next up is Rain Kid, now Rain Snout. Zeh was named for their devotion and has become a righteous cat, a good hunter, and a great teacher. Stag is now 17 moons old and has been given an apprentice to see how Zeh will do with actually teaching and not just in practice. Aside from that, Stag has also been seen touching noses with Lemonback from Savannah clan, and I fully believe Stag befriended him to learn more battle moves. That's all for Rain Snout, so on to Stag's brother now named Conquer Honey. Conquer Honey is troublesome but clever and was honored for his wit at his ceremony. He also has the trait Dream Shaper, which I think is interesting. I've never seen that trait before, and I'm thinking it means Conquer Honey can change and physically visualize people's dreams, basically making them appear in the real world as illusions, a skill he learned after being taught by Mumblestone to better understand the mind. In order of what happened, he got burned out after becoming an apprentice, proceeded to chase out a loner named Palefeather, and then decided to wear moth wings, all while still being an apprentice. He's really going places. Funny thing though, the next cat is the 14-moon-old Nutfeather, the son of Palefeather, the same loner Conquer Honey chased out. Cloud was dropped off at the clan before that though, and honestly that just makes it funnier. Nem is a Tom and uses Cloud Nem pronouns. Nem is strict, a talented swimmer and a good mediator, and also the cat Snapdragon Silk told to just dig Cloud's self out of the small rock slide Ne was caught in, which Cloud did. Nutfeather is a very fluffy boy and was named after Cloud's mother. Another cool thing is that Ne has silver eyes with lighter pupils than irises, unlike usual. It makes them look very cool, in my opinion. Warbler Kid is now also a warrior by the name of Warblerback, and came out as gender fluid using Star's pronouns. As a kid just after Pink Skies and Fringeby's deaths, Star started having nightmares. The deaths hit little Warbler Kid hard, but Star has mostly recovered from it now. Star was apprenticed to Sparrowstripe, and on their first patrol, he took Star to an eagle's nest to learn about hummingbirds. I never saw that patrol before, it's very nice. Star and Nutfeather also graduated at the same time, despite Warblerback being a moon younger than Cloud. Star became daring and a great teacher, plus great kid sitter, which is nice. Also, Star grew out to have a little tuft on Star's head, which is very funky. Next up are the apprentices, starting with Creekpaw and Mumblepaw, who are just about to become warriors. Mumblepaw's pelt has gotten a lot darker over time and lost its resemblance to Mumblestone, so I'm thinking he might ask for a name change at his warrior ceremony. His fur also proceeded to grow into an antenna at the top of his head, which Creekpaw decided to be funny about and gift him a moth wing. Speaking of Creekpaw, she has the same tufts of fur as her brother, however, instead of growing to look like antennae, they grew downwards like rat tails, which makes me think their other parent has some pretty strong genes. Mumblepaw is currently quite troublesome, but quick to help, while Creekpaw is a little insecure but confident with words nonetheless. However, they are the last cats you already know, because the next few are new. Grousepaw is Treepaw's brother and a childish cat with curiosity towards StarClan. He wears blueberries on top of his head like a hat, which is really funny, and his mentor is Sparrowstripe, but he hasn't really done much as of yet. The last three for this year are the kids Leopardoo brought in: Whirlpaw, Bushpaw, and Iciclepaw. Whirlpaw is the biggest of the three and a troublesome trans Tom who is quick to help as well. He uses he/he pronouns and has just been apprenticed to his own dad. Next up is Bushpaw, who is a small intersex kitty. Just as troublesome as their brother, they are fascinated by prophecies and has been pestering Treepaw ever since the fish omen. They developed PCOS due to excess testosterone and have been apprenticed to conquer honey. Lastly is Iciclepaw, who is, unlike his siblings, a righteous Tom with an active imagination. He continuously acts like his siblings' antics annoy him, but he loves them dearly and is secretly amused by them. He's apprenticed to Rainsnout. And that is all of the great clans for year 3. As I've said in the community posts updates, updates will be moved to every 3 months due to the amount of cats now in the clans. I occasionally post updates and others like system appearances there as well, so be sure to check out the community posts. I hope you enjoyed and a happy early Halloween. Year 4 will be out approximately before the 8th of March, but I might be posting some Halloween stuff both in relation to the clans and not. Bye bye! Oh, also I made family trees on Family Echo. The links in the description, I don't think they work yet, and it's not too complicated as of yet anyway, but just so you're aware.